Ezekiel, can I share my screen? Yeah, thanks. Screen to share. Yeah, so this is the hackathon agenda. We're going to look at what is QGIS, because we want to bring up everyone up to speed, how we could use QGIS for GIS data, and then we're going to look how we can make contribution inside QGIS, and then um, after looking at how we can make contribution, we are going to look at the different approaches that are there that you could use to make contribution inside QGIS. And then we're going to get our hands on the development. We're going to split in a number of groups, and then I'm going to guide you on how you could pull QGIS, build QGIS, make changes to QGIS. And then we're going to look at the just small features that you could we could use for today. We could edit and update QGIS on, and then we are going to, if possible, we are going to submit some patches and let the QGIS co-maintainers and reviewers take a look at the work that we have done here today. Yeah, that's basically the agenda of today. Does anyone have a question? Yes. Nice. Yeah. For those who don't have a Linux-based OS, for today it's okay. We are going to use the available Linux-based OS laptops, because we are going to separate into groups. So we're going to make sure that each group have at least one Linux-based OS that you guys could look from. When we are doing QGIS development, we usually advise to do that in Linux. It's not that it's not possible inside Windows. It's just that the support for Windows is not large, I can say. A lot of QGIS developers are doing the development inside of Linux, using Linux-based OS. So there's a little support for Windows developers. But it's something that's possible, but for today, we're going to focus on Linux only, to just avoid a couple of issues here and there. I myself am more experienced in doing development of QGIS inside Linux more than Windows. So, but after today, you could try yourself to do development on Windows. Yeah, but once you get stuck or you get some challenge, if you We'd just like to let you know that the support for Windows is, I mean, it's quite easy actually to set that OS and start building QGIS. Easy or simple, I would say. Yeah. Is there anyone who is their first time to hear about QGIS? Okay, nice. Okay. So what is QGIS? Seems like most of you already know what is QGIS. Can anyone tell me what's QGIS? Yes, Hassan.
Hello everyone. My name is Hassan. Okay, so nowadays currently we have multiple tools we use to process the structured data, which analytics, performing QGIS. So QGIS is among one of the tools and it's also open source. That means if you have like contribution you want to add like specific hackathon to do in QGIS, you can contribute. The ecosystem so it's open source. So it's among the tools that we use QGIS, data, do data manipulation, and the things to expression that also simply as QGIS. The two standards one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Hassan. Yeah. Just generalize is QGIS. I would like to say like it's an application that you could use to create, edit, and do analysis with maps. It provides you with all the fundamental um, tools or all the fundamental features that you would want when you want to either create or to do some additions on the map. And it also is very powerful. It supports a variety of geospatial data formats. It is open source. That means you can take a look at how it's been developed, and it's also free. That means you don't have to purchase it in order to use it. And that's one of the very strong word of QGIS. It's a very powerful tool, and it can be used in planning. Um, and because of that, it provides capacity to all the community to be able, all the be able to plan and enable them to make a informed decision. QGIS itself is developed using C++ programming language, and is built under around a Qt framework, which is the framework that enables development of desktop applications. We are going to take a look at the C++ and Qt in depth when we are starting to make changes inside the code base. So understanding the contribution process for QGIS, in order to make contribution to QGIS, you need to submit your changes via a QGIS GitHub repository. First of all, I like all of you to have this agenda. We just let me just share this repository with you. Um, Let me share this repository. Okay, repo keyboard. Let me know if you can see what I'm trying to share with you. Yeah, you can also scan that QR code and go to the depository that we're going to use today. It has the agenda. For those in the meeting, I'll just share my link. I'll just share the link. Um, share the link. Okay. Have you gotten the link? So does everyone has the agenda? If you don't have an agenda or have some troubles, you can just shout out and then we can come and help you. Can you all access the agenda? No. Okay. So we are also right. I wanted you to follow up when I'm going through the agenda. So what you usually do is you set up this repository called the GitHub repository. I don't know if you know about GitHub. So GitHub is a web application that enables collaboration on software and not only software, but collaboration on projects. You could go there and then start a project, and then if you want to share with whether your teams or your other collaborator, you can just go on GitHub and then open a project and then just send them a link, invite them, then collaborate from there. So QGIS is also available on GitHub. As we mentioned earlier, QGIS is open source and it's free. That means you could go inside and see how QGIS is developed, how the core component and all features have been developed. And QGIS is available on GitHub. So there's a GitHub repository for QGIS called GitHub QGIS. First one is small case. Second one is capital case. This is how the GitHub repository for QGIS looks. And you could see there's a number of commits here, the number of changes that have been made so far inside QGIS. You could see the number of people that are watching. You could see a number of metrics over the repository page. But in order to make changes, you usually come to the pull request page here, and then you will also see that there's a list of number of already made by other people, other contributors and new contributors, experienced contributors. They have already opened some changes and they are requesting their changes to be made inside QGIS. You can see, for example, here, someone opened 8 hours ago a change. So they want to update the URLs that are inside QGIS that are referencing to the official QGIS website. If we go and let me just open QGIS itself, and we can see what does this change want to accomplish. Okay, this is the look of QGIS. I'm sure of you are familiar with it. Is anyone seeing this for the first time? No, nice. You, yes, cool. So this is how QGIS usually looks. You can see different providers, different data providers. We've talked before that QGIS is used for analysis, manipulation, creation of geospatial data. So usually the way that we handle that inside QGIS is that you have different providers of those geospatial data. So here on the side, you have the browser, and this is responsible for showing you the available and supported geospatial geospatial providers. You can see you have SQL provider. So you could use all these providers to add and access the geospatial data. Down here you have the layer doc widget, which is responsible for showing you which layers are now available or which layers are now inside QGIS canvas. It's responsible for showing what are you interacting at the moment inside QGIS. And here you have the main map canvas, which is responsible for showing you the data that you have added inside QGIS, the data that you are manipulating, or the map that you're dealing with. So for instance, I say I want to add, let me just open another user profile, just a default one. I was working on this user profile before QGIS, so it opened the file. on. Okay. Yeah. Um, so just pause this one and then open another program. Yeah. Okay. This one. Errors here. But inside the previous application, there are still some problems. This computer changes, just go there and see what changes. Yeah. See here, the number of applications and is not something new, but it was usually it's out when one of the collaborators wants to change the projects. That this is how we compare the difference between the current state of the project and the changes that we can. Let's see that I'm going to possible. Yeah. So you can see in the comments of the inside the comments in the code base. Yeah, if you just go the other way. Yeah. Can you just no, yeah. Okay. Okay, now and then box. Mm. I can just also increase my. I think. Yeah. So again, you can easily see here that they're trying to update. The contributor is trying to update the links, and some of the links are not actually they are not actually on the QGIS user interface. Some of the links are inside the comments of the QGIS itself, QGIS itself application. You could see there's this file called contributing, and it contains outdated URLs. The contributor is updating it from, you could see there's this http.qjs, but now it's been moved to docs. You can also see all of the changes that they're making. You can go through it and see. And after that, after they contribute, after they make these changes, some of the QGIS core reviewers and maintainers will come, will review the work. After they are with it, they can approve it, and then the changes will be made inside QGIS. And then when there's a next release of QGIS application, that means when you open the QGIS application yourself, you would see that the QGIS will contain the latest. Yeah. Changes. Submit change. What actual work is these changes suggested? I will just, I think I can share the link of contributing. Yeah. There's also a guide on how to do this. So this is the file that you could find inside the QGIS repository itself. I don't know how many of you are able to go inside the QGIS repository right now. You just go and have a look of yourself while I'm going through it. If you just go to github.com/QGIS/QGIS and then click on the contributing, you will find almost all the information that you will need before you can make changes inside QGIS. Before you start contributing, you need to have a copy of the project on your local machine. You need to go and fork the project. By forking means you make a copy, an exact copy of the project inside your GitHub account. And then you make your change locally. You run the test if your change to make sure your change doesn't break anything. And then you create a pull request. So you go to the GitHub QGIS repository, you fork it, you make the changes, you run the test to make sure that you don't break anything, and then you create a pull request. A pull request is you're requesting for your changes to be made inside QGIS. The benefit is that because it's a community project, we have to make sure that each changes that comes is tested thoroughly, and we have to make sure that it doesn't break any of the existing one. That's why you need to go through that approach. If you are familiar with GitHub, other GitHub projects, you could be given lights to like push straight to the repository, no one to review your work. But because it's a community project, and anyone can contribute. Anyone new can come and contribute. We need to have a set of standards and structure to make sure that we check the work before we merge it inside QGIS. Yeah. That's the basic about the contribution process and how we could go through about it. I will just shift to another thing. Share my screen again. Okay. So when we are making contributions, I mentioned that you need to fork the project, you need to pull it into your local machine, make changes, test changes, push changes to your online vision, online copy, and then create a pull request. When we are doing that, when you're making changes, there's a I usually recommend that there's a standard approach that how I usually set up my work environment. If I need to make changes inside QGIS, I usually use just an editor. I pull down the latest QGIS changes, and then I make changes. I build QGIS inside my laptop, and then once I run the test and everything is working fine, I push those changes to my online GitHub repository, and then I create a pull request. And then after that, maintainers and reviewers of QGIS code and changes, and then we give feedback, and then I iterate on the feedback until we reach into a state where everything is stable and everything is agreed, and then they merge the work. For this standard development approach, you just need your Linux, either Linux or whatever Windows OS, and then you need a Qt editor. I usually use Qt Creator, and then you don't need any other tool except from an editor and a command line. After that, let me just click here. Sorry, Zoom is asking for some notification permissions. Yeah, I was just saying that for this standard approach is very bare. You don't have any automation. You just pull the code and then load it into your editor, make changes, and then push those changes for a pull request. And then there's a Docker approach, which is a bit automated, and this approach is what we are going to use for the today's session, because there's usually a lot of steps and things that you need to make sure set up properly inside your OS in order to make sure that you build QGIS the way it is. So with Docker, which is another tool that enables you to work inside, to do work inside a container. So when you have an OS and then you install everything inside an OS, with Docker, it gives you an ability to work, let's say, even in Windows, you could You could have a container that you do development of QGIS that lands on Ubuntu or on Linux, any Linux based. So it gives us this flexibility of not of skipping a lot of issues that QGIS that can occur when you are building QGIS or when you are setting up some prerequisite, some requirement that are needed for QGIS. And yeah, for that you need to install the Docker itself, and then after installing the Docker, and then we need to install the QGIS image that's responsible for handling all the, how should I say, all the requirement and all the tools, all the dependencies that QGIS needs in order to be built will be just pulled by the inside the Docker image. The benefit of this is that if we use the standard approach, we will need to install those dependencies ourselves inside the laptops of them, and there's a lot of issues that can happen, and this can be missing, that can be missing. But the good thing is that the QGIS maintainer themselves have already prepared a number of QGIS images that can be used for the specific situation. Like, I just want to build QGIS quickly and use it. I don't want to have to deal with all the hassles of installing the QGIS dependency. Then you can just use Docker instead of the standard approach. So I just want you to know that there's two approaches that I'm presenting to you. The one is standard approach, and the other is the Docker approach. We are going to focus on the Docker approach. The Docker approach needs you to have a Docker installed in your machine so that to enable you to be able to build, to pull down Docker images and use Docker containers. Okay, until that, is there anyone who has any question? No one has a question.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Docker in computer development.
Yeah.
Most of the developers and they usually ask me now
Yeah.
if you have a Docker or if you want it. So
Yeah. 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 The benefit of using Docker is usually that you let's say you, in this case, we want to build QGIS. But to build QGIS, we need a set of dependencies. Before we start building QGIS, we need a set of dependency inside our machine. We have to go through each one of those dependencies. We have to install them ourselves. And then because there's many operating systems, there might be a different way of installing one dependency in one OS compared to another OS. So when let's say you have a Linux base, but you have Fedora, and you don't have Ubuntu, like the package manager inside Fedora is different, and how you can fetch one dependency inside Ubuntu and inside Fedora is different. And one dependency might be available for one OS, let's say Linux Ubuntu, but might not be available inside another OS, let's say Fedora. So in Fedora, you have to build that dependency in order to have it installed in your machine. So there's this whole dependency management issue. And so what Docker does is that it enables you to just create that environment and package it in one image, and then just share that image across with everyone. So anyone, let's say, is using Ubuntu, we just take that image and then run it in the machine, and then it will do exactly, it will just build QGIS without asking them from dependency, because all that has been handled inside that image. There's a lot of issues in dealing with dependency of tools for building application. So that's one use case of, Docker. There's a multiple benefit of using Docker and containers generally in software development. And also in shipping, deployment. So for our case now is for building QGIS. There are some other cases where you want to deploy. You want to deploy either. It can also be QGIS itself. You want to deploy QGIS on the cloud, but you find that there's a different environment in the cloud. You have to install dependency again. You have to set up, network and stuff. But if you just use Docker, you just take that image and install Docker in that cloud, and then just deploy that image. Okay. Now let's take a look at let's get our hands on the development. There's a number of features that we could work on today. We could focus. At the moment, we don't have any QGIS version, QGIS Swahili version. QGIS have been translated in a number of languages, but Swahili is not one of them. We could also take a look at that. We could also take a look at how we could improve some core parts. If you just go to QGIS here, you see there's a 4.7K issues. That's 4,000, 5,000 issues that people are reporting about QGIS. You can see, inside QGIS, there's a feature to enable map layouts. And in this issue here, someone is having some challenges in using the layouts. And you can see someone is having challenges in using one of them. So there's a whole range of issues. We could also, apart from Swahili translation, we could come here and try and pick any issue that we think we can handle, and then we could make changes, and then we could send to the make a pull request for people. Okay. Just want to okay, I think we should now break out into groups, and then we could I'll do a live demo of building QGIS from scratch. Hopefully everything goes well. And then after that, we are going to try to replicate the same in those groups for each one. And then after we are successful building QGIS, and then we could go and make those changes. I think if we have 3 groups, again, how many of you have laptops with Linux based? Just one. I also have one here which we could use. Yeah, you can use VirtualBox. Who else had the? Who said that you have the Linux? Okay. So let's make sure we have 3 groups. Can you just divide yourself into 3 groups and follow these three, three PCs which have Linux? Does anyone want to use this one? There's a PC here with the Linux OS. You want to use it? Because okay. So we have 3 groups, huh? Just really good and you just install local machine. Uses GXA. Yes. Okay, guys. You make changes, and then you use that to I'm going to open a terminal. Let me just share my screen for the online live stream. Okay. Where's the terminal? Where's my terminal? Okay, so I'm going to copy here the version of QGIS that I already have in my system. And then, yeah. Now, what I'm going to do inside the terminal, where is the terminal? Open terminal. I'll say not. That's the first command that I'm learning. Jupyter Notebook. And then copy that. Copy that, and then I'm going to the terminal. Where's the terminal? Here's the terminal. Now I'm going to the browser, and then I'm going to paste that, and then accessing the localhost will give me this route. If I go inside materials, Linux, and then QGIS build, I should load the notebook. As I mentioned, because I already have QGIS, I'll remove this. Instead of cloning again, I'll just CD to the location of QGIS, which is one directory before the current directory that I'm working at. Just want to see my current working directory. And that, yeah. So it's telling me that I'm already inside QGIS. The next step, I'm going to update the QGIS that I have with a configuration file that will enable to build the Docker image that we will use in the development of QGIS. Because I already did this when I was setting up the notebook, I'm just going to edit the service name so that I don't use the past service that I used for testing purposes. So let me say QGIS dev live, and then I'll run that. After learning this, if you go back to the QGIS source, you could see that we have a new Docker compose with the exact content that we learned from the Jupyter notebook. So you see this content here. Yeah, you see this content here. It's the exact content from the Jupyter notebook. Where is it? Is the exact content as this one. So what that command did or what that step did is that it created a Docker Compose file inside QGIS, and it put those content inside that Docker Compose file. After doing that, again, I'm going to edit this because I already learned this when I was testing, and I want the current session to generate another service. I'm going to edit this to live and not test. For your part, you don't have to do this because in those machines you have not planned the test, so the service will not be recreated. To be created only once. And then I'm going to click that or run that. Docker compose not found. Okay, nice. Docker is not found. Okay. Let me check what's the issue. So this is part of the development stages. You get issues, you get stuff, so you have to figure out yourself what's wrong. You know. So now it's telling me that the Docker compose command is not found. I just want to see why it's, yeah, in the ch.compose is not found. Let me just go to the terminal here and see your terminal. And the cd material. I'm just changing the directory. I'm going to the QGIS directory. And then from there, we say Docker compose. Yeah. If we say Docker compose. They are available. Okay, why am I having issues there? Okay, I don't know why this issue is happening right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going, instead of running the commands inside the Jupyter, I'm just going to run the command from my terminal and see what does those what happens. Possibly because this is not the machine. There's some update that I've made on the Docker Compose or the Docker itself, or the way that I'm running the notebook. It is not detecting the Docker command from the notebook. I'm just going to copy the commands and then I'm going to run them on the terminal. For your side, you won't have to do that. Okay, just go back and copy. I'm going to copy that. And then just go to the terminal and I'm going to copy it and paste it there. Just remove the exclamation mark. Yeah, why